Hi, I hope you're doing well today. Today I want to talk about taxes. You know, when you're working, taxes are just something that happen to you, right? You get to the end of the year, you file your taxes. If you had your employer withhold enough, then maybe you get a little bit money back, or maybe a lot of money back, and you adjust that, which happened kind of early on in my life as I was accumulating kids and mortgages and tax deductions and things of that nature. Or on the flip side, maybe get to the end of the year, you file your taxes, and you owe a little bit. So time to get with the employer, maybe had a little bit more money withheld from your paycheck so that you don't have that problem again next year, which happens quite a bit as the kids grow up and as you no longer have all those deductions you had earlier. Of course, with some tax law changes, a lot of people take the standard deduction anyway, but that's just been my experience. But man, this year I have not been retired, 9 months yet, and I have spent more time on taxes this year so far than I have in the past several, maybe 10 years combined. It is really complicated. And in retirement, you really just have a couple of different, or when I say when you stop working, it all changes, right? So there are two methods I could use to have taxes taken out throughout the year. One is to make quarterly payments, which you have to essentially estimate, how much income you think you'll have, and then figure out basically how much income tax you think you'll pay, and then you divide that by 4 and you make these quarterly estimated payments 4 times a year, and then see how it all turns out at the end of the year. And then the second method is if you take any sort of distribution from a retirement account, or I guess perhaps the same could be true in Social Security, you could have the amount of money withheld from that distribution adjusted to make sure you end up with enough taxes withheld at the end of the year. And of course, you got to keep in mind, you're shooting for that safe harbor, IRS safe harbor rules that essentially if you pay 90% of what you owe in the current tax year, then you shouldn't have to pay a penalty. Or if you pay 100% of what your taxes were in the previous year, then you won't have to pay any penalty if you got it wrong. Otherwise, the IRS is going to tag on a penalty if you don't have enough money withheld throughout the year when it comes time to file your taxes. So my situation is that I'm going to have capital gains and dividend and interest income that I need to add up, and I haven't had anything withheld for. I'm also going to have some inherited IRA distributions, which I'm basically going to adjust up the amount of money withheld to try to cover everything else that I am doing this year. And then also I am planning to do a small partial Roth conversion. And so I would need to make sure that money is withheld for that. And so my strategy for this first year retirement is basically to jack up the amount of state and federal taxes withheld for my RMDs, for my inherited retirement accounts. And I'll do that just right before the very end of the year and have extra money withheld in the hopes that it's close enough to where I don't owe it very, very much, or at least get 90% of what I would owe. Or there's no way I'd get 100% of what I paid last year because I worked last year and this is my first year of not working. So it's kind of rough getting taxes sorted out. My encouragement for you, or my warning to you, is your first year that you stop working, expect to spend a lot of time on taxes to get it sorted out and get it figured out, and figure out a plan where you get money to the IRS, to your federal and state, if you live in a state where they collect income taxes, make sure and get that to them so that you don't end up having to pay a penalty when you file your taxes. So that's my encouragement for you. With that, I'm curious, how do you handle taxes? Are you just making sure that the appropriate amount is withheld based upon RMDs, if you're receiving RMDs, or are you making quarterly payments? I'd be curious what your perspective is. If you have already stopped working or early retired or retired already, and for those folks who are just working on planning for retirement or a life of financial independence, your day will come when you have to sort out your taxes when you're no longer working. So my name is Walter, and that's what this channel is all about, is perspective, challenges, joys of early retirement, or just for folks planning on retirement or just wanting to live a life of financial freedom. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. What's your perspective on taxes when you stop working? I'd be interested in knowing. Thanks so much. Take care, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now.